Gardy, it's been 20 years since really September 11th became a date that we as Americans would all remember. The Twins were in Detroit at that time. You were the third base coach. What was that day like?
Well, it was, Carol actually was there, so we were staying at a big hotel in Detroit, early morning, and all of a sudden we get a phone call from my son, Toby, and who is a 9/11 baby. And he calls us, and we're like, "Hey, Toby, how you doing?" That type of thing. We were still laying in bed, and he told us, "You turned on your TV," and we were like, "No." He said, "Turn on your TV," and that's how the day started. Us by watching everything on TV, and it was scary. It was heartbreaking, the whole package, and one of those stunning type moments that you'll never, ever forget.
So everything pauses for a couple of days. Bud Selig sort of put the pause on baseball as well. While you guys sat in Detroit for a couple of days, what were your days like? Did you go to a ballpark? Did you try to get a workout in? Were you trying to track down family members?
Basically, we were all kind of not really understanding what the heck was going to go on, talking, with TK. He was trying to find out things, and really no one really had any answers. We were just all kind of hanging out, and we'd walk around a little bit, get something to eat, but there weren't many answers, and no one really knew what was going to happen. We all figured that we weren't going to be playing baseball anytime soon, so we were all stunned. I can honestly tell you that as a group, we were stunned. We were, worried about, everything that was going on in the world, and just trying to get home to our families.
Well, eventually we did have baseball again after about a week, and I distinctly remember Jack Buck at Busch Stadium asking the question that everyone was thinking: should we be doing this? Should we be playing baseball? Like, is it okay? When you guys got to the point that you were playing again or ready to play again, do you remember asking that question among yourselves? Like, is this the right thing to do, and when is it the time to do it?
Absolutely. I mean, that was all the conversations in the clubhouses and the coaching staff. We talked about it. What's the right thing, whether we should even do this. There was a lot of conversation going on about it, because it was more about, all the people in New York and people who lost their families and the whole package and what had just happened to our country. So much more than baseball. And, we had deep conversations about whether we should, but, at the end of it, we talked about, I think people need this. They need to get their mind off this a little bit. Baseball might be able to help in that way.
And when you finally did play again, and you were at the Metrodome and you're playing the Tigers, do you remember the first game or first handful of games and the healing part that baseball played in Minneapolis and at the Metrodome?
It was huge. There was a lot of tears out on the field during the anthem. It was tough. I remember standing out there and looking around at guys, and we were all doing the same thing. So, and still, when I talk about it right now, that was the hardest part, was getting back on that field. But having our fans there and, celebrating the lives before the game, talking about, our country and what we stand for, that was huge. And after we got going, it all kind of calmed down a little bit, but it was hard for everybody.
And do you think September 11th and baseball are just forever tied because of what happened, when it happened, and how we kind of all got through it as a country together?
Oh, 100%. I think it needed to, when it was all said and done, it was the right thing to do. But there was a lot of concerns whether we should or should not, because a lot of people were hurting, and us too. And but you know what? Some smarter people than me decided we need to do this. And I was happy we did. Once we got on the field, and I got back out there at third base, it felt good to be out there and seeing people smile in the stands again for at least a little time.